don't anticipate that they thought, you know, they found this talent. So it was just a cute kid that kind of matched the family.
Behind the scenes, Susan Day had waged a battle against anorexia and bulimia.
She just turned orange one day. She actually ate nothing but carrots. I'm not sure I ever heard of anorexia at the time even. You can't believe how thin she was. Fortunately for Susan, she got out of it.
Danny Bonaducci had his own problems, a separation from his abusive father.
I would bring Danny out so that he didn't have to go home, you know, because sometimes he'd come back on Monday morning beat up.
Danny would come to my house on weekends and, you know, play with my kids because his home life was a little ragged at the time.
And more troubles lay ahead. David Cassidy was growing tired of his grueling schedule. He was exhausting the image of the charmed pop star, and he was beginning to test the patience of his co-stars.
David started doing concerts every weekend. I mean, he'd leave Friday night after we finished shooting an episode, get on an airplane and be doing concerts Saturday and Sunday, and have to show up Monday, you know, for the reading of the next week's episode. And sometimes would be late, and sometimes even the day of shooting would be late. And that was a big concern to me.
Where had you been? You said you'd be here. I know. I couldn't help it, Mom.
You know, he would go off on weekends, then he had to come back, and he had to pre-record all the songs, and he had to learn his lines.
He's wearing clothes just like...
Keep rolling, so right from the top.
It was exhausting for him. You know, I certainly understand why he didn't necessarily want to do it anymore. It was killing him.
A frustrated David Cassidy was about to place the show in jeopardy and to confront a fatal challenge to his short pop star career. In its third season, the Partridge Family was one of the top 20 shows in America. In September of 1973, it was plucked from its 8:30 spot on Friday nights and packed off to Saturdays at 8 p.m., putting it up against the critical powerhouse All in the Family. To complicate matters, David Cassidy, forever the show's frontman, wanted out.
David had had it by then. I mean, he was ready. You know, he was tired of being the bubblegum king. He wanted to go on to hard rock, and he wanted another career.
He doesn't like the music. He doesn't want to wear the red suit anymore. He's over the puka shells. And then they turn his character into a buffoon.
It's not fair. I mean, I can understand a guy wanting revenge, but why must the innocent always suffer?
I think that David was uncomfortable. He wanted out. That was true.
Cassidy finally turned in his resignation. The once harmonious Partridge Family was clearly off-key. ABC canceled the show, airing the last episode on March 23, 1974.
I would have gone on for another 4 years. I mean, I thought the show could grow. I thought we had other episodes that we could do. I mean, I saw it going other places. And then a show like All in the Family came on, and that was a whole different look at a family. They said, you know what, it's, you know, maybe it's old hat now. And they felt that it would not hold up against All in the Family.
If there was a possibility that you could be arrested for murder for killing a show, ABC would be in prison right now. We had Friday night locked for all the first 3 years. So what did they do? They moved us to Saturday night and put us opposite the #1 show in the country. Well, that's tantamount to murder. We were probably number 15, so what did they think we were going to do? David Cassidy didn't want to do the show anymore, and they decided to just dump us.
Primarily, probably the ratings had dropped. The show was on 4 years. It was riding a gimmick because it was tied into music, so we just replaced it. I can't remember what we replaced it with.
The show was going to go away anyway. There wasn't a Partridge Family without David Cassidy. I could be funny and cute all day. That show was not going to stay on the air without Keith Partridge.
Despite all its selling points, a hit show isn't a hit without its star.
People can say all they want about great shows being canceled, da-da. You can make a beautiful sport jacket, and you could sell it at Neiman Marcus, and everybody comes in and says it's a beautiful sport jacket. If they don't buy the sport jacket don't get made no more. And that's what television is. It's people make a vote every time they go to the TV set, and they have a lot of power. Believe me, they have a lot of power.
The power of Cassidy mania hadn't waned, and in one case, it would prove fatal. In May of 1974, 14-year-old Bernadette Whelan was crushed to death by the crowd at one of Cassidy's stadium shows in London. He felt compelled to bow out of touring. With the show that had made him a star now off the air, David Cassidy abandoned his place in the spotlight. As for the rest of the cast, it was time to fly on to other projects. Jeremy Gelbwax would later build a career in television production and earn an MBA from Columbia University. Brian Forster studied zoology and became a professional race car driver. After some work on several short-lived television series and made-for-TV movies, Suzanne Crowe attended college and ran a bookstore. Susan Day continued to cultivate a successful television career, playing lead characters in L.A. Law and Love and War. Dave Madden had a recurring role on the hit sitcom Alice and became a popular voiceover artist.
And every time I auditioned for a thing, they'd say, "Is he still alive?"